meeting, the October 8th Town Board meeting to order at 7:02. We stand for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've got a pretty full agenda, so we'll kick it off here. Comprehensive plan public meeting is still open. Through an error on my part, we had planned to close it this evening, but they apparently did not give enough notice. And with the recent fluctuation or all the different versions that were going around, we decided that it was probably wise to give everybody a chance to, again, make sure they got the right version, give them additional time to read it. So we're going to extend the public hearing on comprehensive plan for another 2 weeks to the 22nd. But we're going to continue to keep this one open. So again, I am open, or the town board is open for comments. So I'll just go through the meeting real quick here. Town clerk to read the notice of public hearing. I think we've done that. Confirm all parties received the comprehensive plan per the resolution. Okay, I know the planning board's got it, the zoning board. Dan, you got a copy of the latest? Yeah. Okay. Did we confirm that Schenectady County, actually I dropped that one off, never mind, so that's Mike. New York State Commissioner of Agriculture got it?
It's in the receipt that you'll see, that they all got it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Since the last 3 town board meetings, the town board received comments both verbally and in writing regarding the proposed revised comprehensive plan submitted by our Comprehensive Plan Review Committee. The board has now had the opportunity to review those comments to make its own edits to the proposed comprehensive plan. The board was particularly concerned that our comprehensive plan adequately addresses the gateway to our town at the Route 7 Beaker Road, I-88 Thruway ramp intersection in the light of the proposed developments for this area and the existing traffic issues associated with the pilot truck stop. You will note that we have strengthened the language in the plan with respect to giving directions to reconsider the zoning in this area. Copies of the comprehensive plan as amended by the town board are now available for public review and comment. While we originally planned to hold a public hearing on the comprehensive plan as revised by the town board tonight, we recognize that some people have had insufficient time to review the board's version, so we'll postpone this public hearing or extend the public hearing, I guess, for 2 weeks until October 22nd. So with that, if there's any comments on the comprehensive plan you'd like the board to listen to.
I do, Mike.
Yes, sir. Hey,
I've
Bob,
got-
could you do me a favor and formally?
I got the comprehensive plan before the last one was adopted. I did not get a copy of the one that was adopted before that. But if you read after stormwater management, there was a particular note to my problem, which everybody on that board knows about my problem. And that note has been dropped right out of the thing, and it just goes into commercial zone. So there's no reference to it, so how are we gonna fix my problem if it's not in there?
I think if you look at the new version,
I looked at the new version. I don't see anything pertaining to that problem.
you looked at it online?
Yeah. Why was that note there and why all of a sudden did it drop?
What line was that from?
You got stormwater management was 6-03, and then it went right after the 2 paragraphs for stormwater management, and then there was a note. which was on the old one, top of page 20.
The old one doesn't count.
Well, it's gonna count, because
The old one doesn't count.
I've been in front of you guys enough, okay? This has been going on for too many years, this is gonna get fixed.
All right. September 24th is the issue that we should be looking at, so we can be on the same page.
Well, it needs to be put back in then, that note.
Okay.
You just don't change something like that and just drop a note. I mean, I've talked to other people are telling me, I gotta bring it up to you guys and say it's not right.
We'll talk about it.
You know, how am I gonna get my problem fixed if it's not in there? What do I stand for, like, to say to you guys if it's not in there? I've been told I can't do nothing for the last 4 years because it's not in there. Everybody in the town knows. Everybody knows. So what's the answer? I want to ask you guys, what's the answer? What do I have to do?
So Bob, this is the open public, or public comment. We'll take the note and we'll look at it.
Right.
Any additional comments?
I have a question. Being that I'm Lisa Cranby, Winsburg Road, being that I was on that comprehensive committee, did the board make changes after our committee was completed? Did you guys change something after we were done that
Yes.
we're not aware of?
It's been published.
So being that I was on the committee, why wasn't I notified of any changes that were made by the board? Why wasn't I made aware of the changes? Why wasn't I on the email? Or why wasn't I given a copy or notified that the town board made changes that I wasn't aware of?
So we notified everybody and.
No, you didn't, because I
So,
didn't get
Lisa,
notified.
if you want to talk, that's fine. If you want me to talk, that's fine.
Well, I asked the question.
Okay, now I'm gonna answer. Your committee finished their work. You handed it off to the board. Your work is done. Thank you.
And my question is, did the board therefore make changes to that plan that we worked on
The answer is yes.
without our knowledge? Without being notified of any changes or what the changes were? I'm just asking.
So you finished your work. Thank you.
So you're not gonna answer the question?
I did.
You didn't.
I'm not gonna argue with you, Lisa. You handed the board.
You therefore made changes and
Correct.
didn't notify everybody?
Yes, we did. This is what public hearings for. It's been posted.
So who did you notify of what changes were made, Mike? I was on the committee, I wasn't
No.
notified. So you can't say you notified everybody.
Was there a public notice?
Was there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure there's been a gazillion emails that have gone around to other people of the changes of which I wasn't included.
Mhm.
So I'm asking why? Why wasn't I notified then? If everybody else was notified, why wasn't I notified?
I'm not gonna.
Why was I eliminated? Slipped your mind?
Do you have any thoughts on the changes or on?
I'd like to have a copy. I'd like to see what changes
On the
were
website.
made.
On the website.
Oh, now it's on the website? Now the website's gonna be maintained? Could I have a copy of that, please? Thank you.
additional comments? All right, and just for clarification, the town clerk has had copies. We printed them up. So they've been on the website and the town clerk has had copies. At this point, we'll close this piece of the meeting. Again, we're going to keep the public hearing open for another 2 weeks. For again, written and or verbal comments in 2 weeks. All right, we have a second piece of business. So with the new government regulations, there's going to be a proposed local law number 2 for 2013, Town of Princetown floodplains regulation. So we're going to open this town hearing, or the public hearing up at this moment for comments on the proposed Princetown floodplains regulation law. So I'm going to read it. The notice of public hearing reads as follows. Town Board of the Town of Princetown hereby schedules a public hearing for Tuesday, October 8th, 2013 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Princetown Town Hall, at which time and place it will hear all persons interested in the adoption of local law number 2, 2013, the Town of Princetown floodplains regulation law. I'll now call upon Heather Bergelor, to our town planner, to give a brief description of the law and the reasons we're considering it this time. I want to make sure that all those who speak on the proposed local law, please try to limit your remarks to 5 minutes so that everybody has an opportunity to speak. We keep the record open at the end of the hearing because we will be holding a public hearing on the seeker review at the end of the November 2013 meeting to receive any comments regarding the environmental impacts of the proposed local law. Heather.
Good evening. Essentially, this law is an update to the zoning regulations for the floodplain management that's necessary because of the Norman's Kill being in town here. We have properties that are actually within the floodplain, so therefore we have to have regulations in order for those folks to get flood insurance. And so along with this law is the adoption of the maps, the updated maps that have been prepared, and the local flood study that's also been prepared. At this point, we've sent it for review for our local law. There's some significant changes from the previous law that was passed based on previous storms that have happened in the recent past. So essentially, at this point, we are adopting the minimum standards that the state is requiring us to adopt for floodplain management so that we can maintain our flood insurance for the community.
Comments for Heather or for the board? So again, it's critical that the town board adopt, and hopefully the residents support this. The government is changing the way they're issuing insurances. This is, I forget the phrase you used to cover it, but the national flood insurance has got to pay for itself.
Correct. So the program is no longer being subsidized by the federal government. So because the program is no longer being subsidized, they have put in regulations that essentially the program needs to pay for itself. And so now that the program needs to pay for itself, the regulations need to change to basically demonstrate the fact that the flood insurance is now going to be a self-funded program. So because of that, there are additional regulations when we're building in or in proximity to floodplain. And that's really what these regulations, again, they're the minimum standard at this point. And We're still waiting for a response back from DEC on what we've proposed, but they are the minimum standards.
How does that affect the residents that are in the floodplain?
Well, the new maps that were generated, that have been out for review for a matter of about 15 months, the process started about 15 months ago. Though there are some properties that have been brought into the floodplain as a result of new data that's been developed for these maps. They're flown at a more precise level, so because they're drawn at a more precise level, they have a better idea of how floods could affect that area. And so some properties have been brought in that previously were outside of the 100-year floodplain. The detailed study, again, has been significantly updated to represent what the threat actually is for flooding. So it affects those folks who are within proximity to the floodplain, and it brings in additional properties into that floodplain area.
So the people that have mortgages will be notified by the banks or the people holding the mortgage that they're in the floodplain?
Correct.
Year floodplain, and they'll be required to purchase flood insurance.
Correct.
Yes.
Just, if I could ask, for people watching, could you just give us a quick description of what the floodplain is? I assume it's along Route 7, but there are a couple of streets, I guess, by Morgan still, and a couple that might be in there. Are there any new ones that weren't before?
There are some properties that are adjacent to the Normanskill that are now part of that, and what I would suggest is anyone who's watching come in and schedule a time to meet with me or come in and take a look at the floodplain maps. We have them available here so that they can reassure themselves whether or not their property actually is in a floodplain. And there are resources at the county level that I can get people in touch with so that they can start talking to their mortgagers ahead of time and get an idea of what is going to be involved in actually taking out a floodplain policy at this point if they're going to be brought into that, so that they can be aware of what the costs are.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Any comments on floodplain law? So this is going to tie in a little bit with something we'll talk about a little bit later on, the hazard mitigation plan that we'll be working out with the county. All right, so we'll close this piece of the meeting at 7:22. All right, so at this point, we're going to open the floor up for public comment. Let me remind everyone of the privileges of the floor. Every regular scheduled town board meeting, the public shall have the right to address the town board during the portion of the meeting referred to as privileges of the floor, which shall take place after the reports of the town departments and supervisor. Members of the public wishing to speak during privileges of the floor may sign a sheet before the commencement of the town board meeting indicating his or her name, address, and proposed topic. Signing the sheet will dictate the order in which persons are recognized to speak and will assure that the town clerk has correct spelling of the names and addresses for the minutes. Members of the public are to restrict their comments to items of town business and are to observe proper decorum while addressing the town board. Persons who become unruly, who use inappropriate language, or persist in speaking on items not related to town business may be ruled out of order. Although there is no official time constraint and speakers may address more than one item in their comments, they should be considerate of others and try to limit the remarks to no more than 5 minutes so that all interested members of the public have the opportunity to be heard. The floor is open.
Oh, sorry, Jim. You want to go before me?
That's where you go first.
Michelle Kenworth, Town Justice. Attached to the agenda, obviously, is the decision from the Division of Human Rights, which the town board felt necessary to make part of the minutes of the meeting, I guess. The determination in order after investigation basically states that the town was not held and there was no probable cause to determine that I was discriminated against by them because I'm a female. That doesn't mean that they weren't disrespectful. That doesn't mean that they weren't demeaning. That doesn't mean that they disrespected me as a person, as my position as judge. You also chose to attach the Unified Court System letter from Mr. Kevin Riley when we brought that in about the reduction in hours, and it was underlined, someone underlined it, because obviously that needs to be read, which says, after a review of your court operation, it's evident that the court's caseload has decreased over the past 3 years. So I'm sure that that's what the town believes is justification for reducing the court security to 1 officer, and ultimately will be no officers, because the Police Benevolent Association will not send only 1 officer because it becomes a liability to them. However, on the next page, they forgot to underline that based on the court's recent caseload history, it may be premature to conclude that because the Princetown Town's court caseload has decreased over the past 3 years, a continued reduction in cases filed in the court is inevitable, and a drastic reduction in court clerk hours allocated to this is necessary. So you pick and choose what you want people to see. So I'm just pointing out that that also was listed on there as well. And it only takes 1 person to come into this court and pull a gun and disable an officer and cause some kind of problem that this town will regret for the rest of their, well, term, which hopefully won't be that long. I am appalled by the fact that you would have to put something like this. And I never brought this up because I figured, you know, let sleeping dogs lie. We thought, let sleeping dogs lie, well, not now. This letter is from the Unemployment Insurance Appeal Board. It's dated July 16th. The Department of Labor issued the initial determination holding the claimant, which was me. I applied for unemployment benefits when the town of Princetown removed the clerical position from me, the administrative clerical position that I was performing for 27 years, and decided not to fill it. We tried to fill it, but we couldn't come to an agreement. So this town of Princetown filed an appeal with the unemployment board because they felt I wasn't deserving of unemployment benefits based on the fact that I worked in a position and that was my employment, and I lost 60% of my salary. Well, they ruled, the ALJ ruled, that I did deserve unemployment. This town board and Mr. Cuevas filed an appeal, and this appeal says that the administrative law judge held hearings at which all parties were accorded full opportunity to be heard and at which testimony was taken. There were appearances by the claimant, and on behalf of the employer, the decision filed January 31st, the administrative law judge overruled the employer's objection based on a voluntary leaving without good cause and/or for misconduct in connection with employment, and sustained. That means the appeal board agreed with the administrative law judge that I deserved unemployment, and sustained the initial determination of eligibility with respect to the issues. Effective dates to be determined by the department, the employer's objections as to the claimant's total unemployment, and overruled eligibility with respect to this issue. The employer appealed the judge's decision with the appeal board insofar as it overruled the employer's objection with respect to voluntary leaving without good cause and/or misconduct in connection with employment, and sustained the initial determination of eligibility on these issues, meaning unemployment felt that the unemployment was deserved. The board considered the arguments contained in the written statement submitted on behalf of the claimant and on behalf of the employer. We have reviewed the entire record and have considered the testimony and other evidence. It appears that no errors of fact or law have been made. The findings of facts in the opinion of the administrative law judge are fully supported by the record and therefore are adopted as the findings of facts and the opinion of the board. This is the decision of the administrative law judge insofar as appealed from is affirmed. I wasn't going to bring it up. As I said to you before, you win one, you lose one, it all comes out in the wash. But this board chose to discredit, again, my name, my position, and my reputation. I let it go, so I went and pulled it so I could read it. Because you are all in American, with the exception of Mr. Edwards and Mr. Myers.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You stated in your comments that the town board filed an appeal to block you from obtaining unemployment from the position that you were eliminated from. I actually showed up at one of those hearings.
Yes, you did.
I think the deputy town supervisor and our town attorney were the only people present. And I don't recall any formal action by this town board authorizing the deputy supervisor or the town attorney formally to take the actions taken against you. So I guess I would ask my colleagues and the town attorney, as communicated that the town board took action against her. I guess I'm questioning, I don't remember us voting, formally authorizing anybody to conduct the process that was conducted. So if I'm mistaken, I'm glad to be corrected.
And if you look in the minutes, you'll find that the board authorized the defense of the unemployment claim that was filed against the town
By resolution.
by resolution.
As well as the appeal.
And the appeal was also authorized by resolution?
The whole claim was authorized.
You believe or what?
Well, I didn't memorize the entire thing.
Mr.
You-
Quaid
guess
certainly
we should-
remembers the authorization of the resolution to fight the unemployment. I think it would be more important to remember the appeal, since that really could overturn the decision. Maybe the town clerk could pull that information.
I guess I would be curious to know that this legislative body that we're acting without just direction and authorization to do so, including you. Thank you.
Is there any additional public comment?
Yeah, I have a few comments. I've lived here for 26 years, and in the history of Princetown, there has never been lawsuits and issues until this administration. Please act like, like at least you're listening, Mike. I sent you an email, which I could read in front of everyone, okay? You replied, and I replied back. And you said there's always two sides to every story. Well, I'm still waiting to hear the other side. All I see is character bashing, name calling. Mr. Miller gets up here every month. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Public comment. I can say what I want. I can say what I want. Everybody else does. I get my turn. Okay? Pat Bishop got up here last week, was questioning why there were individuals getting emailed meeting minutes. I'm one of them, obviously. What is the difference? If they're not on the website, and the website's not being maintained, what does it matter if I get it by email? It doesn't. We can't go by what's on the website, because it's not maintained, and it hasn't been maintained for many, many months, as you are aware, okay? You say it's open government, it's only to a select few, okay? This stuff that comes in the mail is garbage. It's good for toilet paper. That's all it is, okay? Your little cartoon, Mr. Miller, for Gentry and Moore, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. All of you. Not you, Mr. Edwards. the rest of you.
I'm ashamed for us.
This is ridiculous. You don't even see this stuff on television. People of this town are fed up with the backstabbing, the backdoor approach that has gone on for months. And I know you really don't want to hear it, and you know what? I really don't care. I really don't. I am so tired of the nonsense that goes on. And you think you're gonna get away with it. And you know what? Really not. Because you're setting yourself up, all of you. It's shameful. It really truly is. And as far as the comp plan goes, you mark my words, everything that we worked on and did is all gonna go back in there. And I said to you, it's Pat's plan. And that's exactly what's gonna happen. All the hard work for nothing. So I hope you're all happy.
I'm Jim Isaac, I live on 407 Shagbark Court. And I'd like to stick to town business by your rules, but I think with what's going on right now in this town, I think you guys have really blurred that line. Okay, when you start your personal bashing of people, come on, this is a small town. We don't need this, and this is unprecedented. I've been in this town a long time. I've never seen anything like this. And I just found it kind of funny that I received a flyer in the mail on Thursday, I believe it was, and on Sunday, I picked up the Sunday paper with the cartoon in it, and it's exactly what was in the flyer. Come on, guys. Run on the record, take the high road, and bury it. Come on, this is a small town. We never had this before, and this is really getting out of control. I really feel that it's time to bury this. This negative campaigning does not work. It doesn't work, and it's not gonna do you any good. I'm sorry, and that's the way I feel as a resident of this town, and I see the line being crossed here when you come out with this personnel bash, and these are employees of the town, and you're just bashing them publicly. This is not good stuff. This has gotta stop. I don't know who's behind it, I really don't care, but the bottom line is, if it's somebody that's in your slate of candidates that's running, it's gotta stop. It's no good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that funny, Mr. Miller?
Yes, it is.
What is it funny?
All right, there's one meeting here, one meeting, please. One meeting, please. If you have a comment, you stand up and you state your name and your address.
Mr. Miller thinks your comments are funny.
This
Mr.
is public
President.
comment.
Maybe you can
All right,
get up and
I'll
speak.
back up here, all right?
We're not-
What's so funny about what I said? I
Address
think
your
it's pretty
comments
serious.
to the board, please, sir. It's to us. This is public comment to the board.
Okay,
on
did
town
anybody up there find it funny, what I was saying? I mean, is it funny? Is that your deputy supervisor?
You have town business, you address it to the town board. This isn't back and forth. I understand, I respect it, we've made notes.
Well, it's a joke, because laughing at me and coming through you falls right in line with what I'm saying about you guys coming after your employees and your employees in this town. I resent that.
So you're allowed to make a comment, and if the board's councilman concerns, the councilmen are allowed or not allowed to respond. So if you have more to say, we're welcome and listening, but we're not gonna get back and forth with this.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Norm Miller, Skyline Drive. I was not laughing at what you said, because I think what you said.
He said address the board.
A lot of merit.
Please, not me.
Stop, please. If you have questions for the board or business for the board, address the board. Otherwise, I'm gonna shut it down, and that's gonna be the end of it. If you have business for the board, about board or town business, and not Peyton Place gossip, please address the board. Otherwise, we're gonna shut it down. If you have something constructive to say to the board, your floor.
as I said, I was not laughing at what he said. I think what he said has merit.
You said what he said was funny.
All right, let's,
No, he didn't.
Yes,
You
you
did.
did.
Stop.
You did.
I asked you if you thought it was funny, and you said yes.
stop. We're closing privileges.
I'm sorry, but I'm.
Just take 1 second here, just 1 second. Let everybody calm it down a little bit. Everybody take a little bit of a breath. Mr. Edwards is glad to see you could show up after a year, but this is public comment. We try to refrain from back and forth, so.
You just said
we're
it's a
asking
council
you-
member's discretion. Now,
No,
are you
that's
going back
not-
on your word? You're talking on both sides of your mouth. I know it's common for you, but I'm not sure what you're
Councilman's
saying.
concerns.
You're out of
Mr.
order,
Edwards.
Mr. Edwards. You're way out of
You've been
order.
out of order for a long time. That's not.
My
Oh,
goodness,
stop.
my goodness, my
Stop.
goodness.
I agree.
No.
Stop.
Proceed.
Norm, do you have anything for the board?
The only comment I was going to make, I was accused of, I guess, of doing a cartoon in the newspaper. I do not have that control. I have no idea why the newspaper did that. That's their business, and that concern should be taken up with the newspaper. I was laughing at the fact that people think that I put that in the paper.
Okay, thank you. Additional comments?
My name is Louise Popa. I live on 528 North County Road. I just feel like I'd like to interject something positive. I lived in Princetown for 26, 27 years, and we had the tornado in May, and I'd just like to say that my little road, we suffered most of the damage in Princetown, I think. I don't know, quite a bit. We lost trees on our roof, and the first thing that happened on our street was that, the next morning after it happened, we got a knock on our door from one of our neighbors. And it just seemed like, we all cared for each other. We had, we ate together, and that's what Princetown is. And I just feel like I need to say that.
Order.
528 North County Road.
Thank you.
I have one more comment and then I'm done. I feel that a good leader brings the community together. It doesn't divide them. And this administration has turned this town upside down and inside out. And it has been so divided. I'm ashamed of it. I really am. I'm ashamed of it.
Stick around.
Stick around for
Rebuttal.
rebuttal. Well,
Correct.
how can you rebut that? It's
I'm not gonna
your
give a debate. You wanna stick around?
Right,
If
it's
not,
public
that's fine.
comment. I'm done with my comment.
Good. Mary Sue?
Here's Cindy, 962 Darrow Road. I have to comment about Lisa Karangi's comment about the website. I looked at the website today. As of today, at least for the planning board, all the minutes that have been approved by the planning board are up on that website. So this website is up to date. The only thing I don't see on it are the town board minutes that have not been approved. And I can understand why that's not being done. But I have some positive comments too, like Louise. So, as chair of the Princetown Civic Historical Committee, I would like to report to the town board that we had our second successful family movie night on Monday, August 19th. In addition to the movie provided by Fun Flicks of Scotia, their staff conducted many fun games with around 50 children and adults, The Rotterdam Boys and Girls Club provided concessions. The Scotia Glenville Children's Museum had craft projects for the kids. And the Schenectady County Sheriff's Office sponsored their Safe Child program. Platterkill Volunteer Fire Department had a truck in the parking lot, which was a big hit for the big and little kids. This activity would not have been possible without the help of many volunteers. I want to thank Supervisor Mike Joyce, Council members Joe Jasinski and Louis Pizito, and Deputy Supervisor Norm Miller for their behind-the-scenes assistance and guidance and help on the evening of the movie. Thanks to George Meade for setting us up with the proper safety equipment. And thanks to the following committee members and residents who helped us make this event a success. Linda Parker-Kusick, Louise Popa, who took along her husband or her son to help out too, Irma Mastrian, Gloria Schaefer, Marilyn Miller, Dan Bosberg, and Marion McCune. Activities like this is what community is all about. A diverse group of people coming together for the common good of the town and providing an opportunity for our residents to have a good time. We have already notified Schenectady County of our town's interest in participating in the 2014 Family Movie Night season. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Sue. Additional comments? All right, we're going to close privileges of the floor. Yeah. And close privileges of the floor at 7:45. So we have some guests before we move into reports. We have Alex and Samantha from New York Light Energy. I know there's been discussions and concerns about the solar energy, so we asked Alex and Samantha to come back in to give us an update on what exactly was the program is, where we are, and where we're going. Thank you, sir.
Alex Lee from New York Light Energy. I'm the CEO of the company. I'm kind of curious to me. I remember when I first came here, you guys were discussing last year's movie night for the first time, and wow, it's been a while. I also would like to remind on the record, I still have not got my cucumbers. So that's the one thing I want to say. However, having said that,
We'll see if we can get you more out.
Having said that, New York Light Energy came in and made a proposal to the board and to the citizens of Princetown that we would install, own, and operate and maintain a solar array that would drive some of the energy requirements for different pieces or different facilities within the Princetown community. We committed to do that under the following auspices: that there would be absolutely no cost whatsoever to the town of Princetown for the installation, operation, and maintenance of that array. And as of this date, and looking forward, but as of this date, I have not received a single penny from the town of Princetown, nor have I requested a penny from the town of Princetown. We believe when we make an agreement, we have to live up to it. So to that extent, we have installed in this area, I believe, over $400,000 worth of equipment and not asked for dime one from the city, town. Furthermore, we also, the way we make our money is we sell the energy from the system, the solar arrays. We're generating power, electricity, just like a utility might, but we're selling it to an individual entity. So we're not a utility, but we sell that power. And we have very, very high standards within New York Light Energy about the quality of power we deliver and the quality of service we provide. So I believe for the last 3 months, we've actually been delivering power, which has been reflected in some of your bills. I think, if I remember correctly, I saw last week the Giffords Church bill where, George, is that right, where the effective consumption was about 0 from National Grid, and New York Light Energy delivered 100% of the energy. which we also did not bill the town for. We did not bill the town because we were not satisfied with the quality of our installation or the quality of our product at that point in time. We have not billed the town, we have not asked the town for payment, we have not asked the town for any monies whatsoever for the installation of the array. Furthermore, we have been asked by the town to provide services which we had not committed to do when we installed the array in the first place. But our array caused some unintended side effects, and I believe there's a house off of the Driffords Church array near there. I think Dan and Deborah Gentile, who have said that they're concerned about some reflection off the panels into their house. I have, and I would like to say this is not made up because I happen to be coming today, but just because I got the purchase rec in front of me. I signed the purchase rec today for $5,300, which was not as part of my budget, to put up trees and plantings to shade the Mr. and Mrs. Gentile's facility at home from the array, so they wouldn't get that reflection. So I have also heard the comment that we've been paid by the town, or we've received money from the town. I'm here to assure you and open my books, that has never happened. We are living up to our commitment. Our commitment was there would be no charge to the town. It would be an embarrassment to me if we had. So other than that, I'm not quite sure what other questions I can answer. Our intention is once the systems are up and operating efficiently and properly, we will then charge the town for the electricity we're delivering. And that electricity is being delivered, I believe, on average 25% discount to the price you're paying for National Grid's electricity. So I think the town is making out pretty well. And I believe I've delivered, this is off the top of my head, so I don't have an exact number, but about 2.5, 3 months worth of energy, which we have not charged. So, Mike, I'm not quite sure if I've answered your question or.
No, that was perfect. I just wanted again to highlight, it's not like solar power you put on your house where you gotta go and purchase the panels and then apply for credits through National Grid and government, et cetera. We can't do that because we're the government. So the way it works, just like Alex had explained it, is, Alex's team can do and apply for the credits as a private enterprise, and they in turn, pass on and sell the power to us. So it's a power purchase agreement, which we expect to save, 25 to 30% at the 3 sites, 12 months a year for the next 20 years. So, our hope is, and it's a little early, otherwise, what I hope to do is next month, in the November meeting, is working with Samantha and Alex, is to put up a spreadsheet, kind of a tool that we can go ahead and compare a couple of months' bills from a year ago compared to, this August, September, and October, and compare them. Now, not gonna be exact because of weather, but you'll get the trend of the savings we expect to, so we can, not an exact level, but you can see and track, the savings to the town. So again, we're working with Joe. He's gonna get some previous bills for the last 3 or 4 months, and then for 3 or 4 months from a year ago, and start graphing them with Alex and Samantha's help here. And I do understand, a lot of the townspeople are concerned, is like, oh, how can that possibly be for free? How can it possibly be for free? Well, it's not for free. It's a power purchase agreement. We've been saying it all. It hasn't cost us anything. Nothing, not a dime, besides the work of, of Joe and Lou and Alex and his team. But there's been no cash from the town expended in this effort. Any future maintenance, if a panel breaks, it's on Alex. The panels are on his insurance. We have absolutely no cost to this for the next 20 years. So 3 sites times 12 months times 20 years, again, we were anticipating, as Alex said, a 25% savings per site. So, hopefully with some of the data, we'll be able to capture, within the next 4 or 5 weeks to the next meeting. We'll chart it, we'll put it up there, everybody will be able to see it. Again, it's gonna be, dependent on the month and the time of the year, but you can see the savings and we'll be able to track it a little bit, so.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I'd like to tip my hat to Alex, New York Light Energy. Mark Richardson, your engineer, has been, you folks have been a pleasure to work with. And I can't say enough, really, for your support of Dan Gentile, Carol Palace on the other side, and Richards. And, Mark Richardson has been very proactive, and I'm just very grateful and happy that we chose you guys to do this. So.
Thank you very much. If I could make a quick comment, Mike.
Sure.
The subsidies to put up these arrays come in two forms, and I think it might be important to understand this. One form of the subsidy comes from a NYSERDA grant, which is eligible to anybody, including the town of Princetown. However, the majority of the subsidies come in the form of both state and federal tax credits. Since the town does not pay taxes, you cannot take advantage of the tax credit. New York Light Energy, one of its strengths is we have the ability to monetize the tax credits that allow us to pay for the system to go up. But since fundamentally a public entity does not pay tax, there's no way the town or any public entity could ever take advantage of the tax credit. And that's equal to about 40% of the total system cost. So I wanted to just make that clear, because it's not that you guys couldn't have put up your own array, but those funds are not only not available to the town of Princetown, but they're not available to any public entity. Okay?
Yep, thank you, sir.
Anything else?
No, appreciate you taking some time again to come down and work with us and
Thank you.
give us some guidance.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, man. Yep. All right, I know we're gonna be running late tonight, so if we can go through business real fast, or pretty quickly anyway. Highway. I'll touch on highway. So I met Joe Ryan and Rick Walensky. So Will Run should be, about 2 weeks ago, they had done the sides. They put down the topsoil. I think they still had to put down the seed. Overlook Lane, the base there was fixed, and they're looking to finish the culvert work up there. Quackenbush down Gilmore House, they're going to put some additional riprap in there. Rooter Drive at the base there, at the base of Rooter and Pangburn, they're going to put either a basin in and or a culvert heading up there, and hopefully patch that piece of Rooter Drive where the water's puddling and freezing during the winter. And then I've asked him, Joe, so we can try to put some funding in place for 2014 on how much it'll take, or what the quote would be to repair Willow Run and also Princetown Plaza. Princetown Plaza is getting a little shaky, so that is highway.
I think the hydro seeding on Long Run was done. I'm pretty certain I saw them.
Thanks. Water.
Had to put a new radiator on the Rooter Drive booster pump. That was completed the other day. Lead and copper testing was done this past month. We've got to test 5 sites every 3 years in town. It's all well within compliance. We have another little project over here on Route 7 that should go off next week, encasing about 10 feet of water line and concrete underneath the culvert over here, and repairing the hydrant valve at the same time. Pollard Construction was a low bidder on that. So outside of that, it's pretty much a normal month.
Anything for George?
Thank you, George.
Thanks, George. Mr. Dan?
Last month, permits were down for that month, but today, sitting on my desk, we have a new home start in Brookside Drive starting, actually tomorrow, I think they're starting to dig, so we have another new home going up in town. Back in our August meeting, Mike, you had asked me the solar sites, you just wanted me to go and inspect as I do normal projects. So I did an inspection of our 3 sites. All the sites were inspected by the third-party inspector, which is a normal inspection that I go through. At the town hall site, the third party was done, plans, okay, the array is conforms. The landscaping, I don't know if that was part of whatever, the grass hasn't been done, but at the ZBA meeting of for the town hall site, it was October 22nd, their approval night for that site. New York Light Energy spoke, gave the scenario, and there was questions from the ZBA members. The first one was, Mr. Plura asked what height the arrays would be. Mr. Richardson described the town hall arrays would be approximately 8.5 feet at the highest and 2 feet at the back. The pump house would be 12 foot at the highest and 2 foot in the front. Well, the town hall one actually is 13 feet 8 high. So when they were given their approval, it was based on the 8.5 foot, not the 13.5 they are actually. There was also a question about signage, and Mr. Richardson said that would be up to the town for safety signs, explain how tall. So the verbiage would be done by the town, which there's no signs posted yet. I don't know if that was part of your consideration, but the ZBA based their approval on some type of safety signage done in their meeting when they gave the approval for it. And also, the question of fencing was questioned to keep the children from going on the sign. Mr. Richardson also spoke that that was not part of theirs. That's something that the town would have to look into. So I don't know where that is, but based on the ZBA's approval that they gave, there was supposed to be some type of signage, town hall warning signs, but we'll defer this to the town as application and language. So New York Light Energy was not responsible for it, the town would have been. At the safety concerns for the Waynesburg site, that the third party, all the third parties were done, the inspections. The planning board conditions for their approval had an evaluation of the input from the neighbors regarding screening. I don't know if that's been done, if the neighbors have been notified or asked about screening.
Which site?
For Williamsburg Road.
Asking.
I'm just, this is part of the conditions that I have to find out. Okay. And the Gifford Road site, Mr. Alex talked about tonight, so that was taken care of as of today. Planning board conditions regarding the aesthetic value evaluation has been done regarding the screening, so that's being done right now. So after the 3 inspections for the town hall, we have to revisit the ZBA's approval. And I don't know, I would have to confer with Heather if that's something that needs to go back to them regarding the height, because they based their approval on an 8.5 foot height, not the 13 foot 8 that's out there. I don't know if it's something that we would, if a developer did something that was above their variance or their approval, they would have to come back. I'm just trying to keep everything.
Who measured it, Dan?
I did,
From where?
from the ground to the top to the back of
Ground
the.
and slope. All right. But, I mean, we can talk about that.
Joe, if you drop a straight line down.
Dan, we can talk about it.
Okay.
I understand.
And about the signage, the safety signage that was encouraged by Mr. Richardson and discussed the safety regarding the fencing. That was all discussed in the ZBA, which I have no control, that was that board acted on that. The pump house, again, regarding the screenage, that was, I guess the question was asked and answered. And the Gifford Church Road, the planning board had the signage there also, and the fencing issue, and the screening, which is being taken care of. I'm just going by what their approvals were, so. Questions?
Questions for Dan? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Do you want to touch base with Dan or Alex when he's out there? That'd be good. Thank you, sir. Heather?
I do not have a whole lot to report at this point, since it's only been a month since I've started, but planning board has had a couple of subdivision applications come forward, and there's also been the site plan application that's come forward. So at this point, that's really all that I have to report, other than we're working on the floodplain law and also the hazard mitigation plan. So.
Perfect. Anything for Heather? All right.
Thanks, Heather.
Town clerk? All right. Town council, we can do fairly quickly. Bob?
I didn't talk to the highway superintendent recently, so I don't have any update on highways.
Okay. We'll skip Lou for a second. Actually, I can give Lou's. So as part of our contract with the Trooper Barracks 2013, we need to be updating their, I think they call it their patrol room, but it's their trooper stations. So we've gone ahead and got quotes on the furniture, on the painting. I think the only thing we have left open is the flooring, which I think Lou's actually got this week. We've got a schedule put together, with the tentative completion date of December 5th. So we'll start backing up from there. We're hoping to be finished, well, we're going to be finished on December 5th, so back up, I think, 6 weeks. So one question I do have for the board and for the staff, is they got some old furniture over there, if anybody wants it, or if we can use it in town hall. Kind of beat up, but it's there. Otherwise, we're probably just gonna, trash it. And we do have a quote into Joe Ryan, and I think Lou's working with a local contractor to get a quote to patch that hole on the other side of the grate. And then the final piece is, I met the new sergeant, Andy Donato, is the new, I guess he's coming home, he's worked here before. Apparently the garage is still flooding, so I think that downspout, it goes into the ground and goes down the clock. It's still pouring into the garage, so I'll touch base with Lou on that. And that's pretty much State Police Barracks. Joe, E-code.
All of our local laws that were missing from the book have been obtained from New York State as of the end of September. And general code is putting together a manuscript. And the manuscript is going to be basically putting all of the local laws into the table of contents that we approved in July. And it will be pretty much what the new local law arrangement will be for the town of Princetown. That will be delivered to us by the end of this year or early next year. As far as payments to them, we are not in arrears. They're going to get a schedule of payments. They're going to send it to me, and I'll report as soon as I get it. But, things are rolling along. They sound very confident. I'm very excited about this project. So that's all there is to report. The ball is still in their court.
Very good. Nothing to do. Skip police fire? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just said we're getting a quote on it. Between Joe, Ryan, and your other company. Hopefully I'll have it done soon. Okay. I could have put together a resolution, but so, okay, anything for Joe?
Thank you.
All right. So for myself, just touch on the budget real quick. So the tentative budget's in. One of the resolutions tonight will be to set a public hearing for... You look comfortable. To set a public hearing for the preliminary budget. I do want to highlight a couple of pieces on the budget. So a couple things. Despite with some emails that are going around, there are no plans for a town tax. None. Unless Mr. Edwards knows something that the rest of us do not know, there is nothing in the plans for a town tax. So let me highlight that again. There are no plans in the budget for a town tax. Pretty important, I think. To touch on a couple other things, so basically, at least I feel it's my responsibility, hopefully the board does, is the residents of this town pay us to watch their money and to spend their money. That's my concern every time I open up my paycheck is what am I missing now? How much am I missing? So there is no plans for a town tax. There's nothing about a town tax in our budget anywhere. You need to highlight that. I want to touch base on a couple of things. Again, it's our responsibility. So has there been some acrimony? Has been some debating? Yeah, there has been. There's some hard feelings. But, you pay us to spend your money. So it's our job to challenge each and every piece of it. One of them being the unemployment insurance. We don't have unemployment insurance like private business does. This comes directly out of our and your paychecks, or your money that you're sending us. So it's pretty important that we're challenging. Now, when we weren't challenging the ruling of the court, we're challenging that she was already working. That was the challenge. You have a job, how can you collect unemployment? That was the issue. But nonetheless, so, I want to touch base, so as long as, maybe a little bit of time here on the floor, the sex discrimination lawsuits, they were based on the town board cutting the budgets. We didn't cut any budgets. I can go through and explain exactly for each department what and how we funded them. For example, for the deputy town clerk, we funded them, and I don't know if anybody's got their calculator out, but 8 hours a week times 52 weeks plus 48 hours for the vacation time for the clerk. What we asked in return, and that's, I'm sorry, so it's 8 times 52 weeks plus 48 hours. The deputy town clerk makes $18.04 an hour, so whatever the hours are times $18.04. What we asked in return was that the clerk's office be open on Mondays from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4, a total of 6 hours a week. That still allowed and this is to provide additional services to the town at no cost. We funded it, shouldn't have been harder. 6 hours on Mondays, allowing the clerk's office to bank 2 hours a week for training, for sickness, for whatever. You know, we funded appropriately, but we were accused of sex discrimination. Every month, our financials are placed up on the website. Up on the website, you can track it and you can watch it. It says Deputy Town Clerk. They're going to be challenged to spend what they have, what we gave them, but they sued us. We are in line again for this year to have an additional fund balance of 20,000, maybe 25,000. The lawsuits have cost us $9,000. $9,000 because we cut budgets. We didn't cut budgets. We asked for feedback on each and every department, and we looked at them. Again, you pay us to watch your money. We can't control what goes on in Schenectady, what goes on in Albany, or what goes on in Washington, but this board, can control what we're spending here. There was money allocated. To the judge's decision. The judge's decision, I don't know what I have in front of me, clearly states that the town board was within its rights. There was no discrimination. We looked at the workload.
There was no gender discrimination.
We looked at the workload.
Doesn't say that.
We looked at the workload and we set a budget accordingly. Again, 8 hours a week times 52 weeks times 1804. This is for the second clerk. The first clerk was paid at 16 hours a week times 52 weeks times 1804. One key piece that everybody seems to be missing is that there was the accusation that the town board, myself in particular, let some press release go through to the Gazette. So, quoting, moreover, the investigation could not corroborate the complainant's assertions that the respondent's town supervisors disclosed confidential matters to the local newspaper. To the contrary, the investigation found that a witness identifies a female who may have disclosed the information. You know, sir, you talk about mudslinging. So I came into office, I don't know anybody. I have no family here. I'm just here to do the work. That's it. No big deal. I've been accused of cybersecurity break-in. I've been accused of breaking into the vault, like I'm Robert Wagner with my little stethoscope, breaking into the vault. I've had my employer called and threatened. My employer was called and threatened 3 times. Twice by the judge's boyfriend, and once by Mr. Edwards and the state police. Can you understand the
So I'm going to
feelings that I
stop you
have?
right now, because that is not true.
Well, then you should
That is
probably
a lie.
talk to.
I have
Jim
never had
Barnes.
anything to do with your employer, nor have I ever contacted your employer.
It's in the
That is an
report.
outright false statement.
Right,
So
it's in the
if you're just
report.
gonna sit up here and lie, which we can tell when you're lying because your lips are moving, there's no reason for you to keep talking. I will not
You're out
sit
of
here,
order.
I will not sit here and let you make false claims against me.
You can get
You
the
know,
report.
I don't care.
You
You
can
wanna
go to
sit
the
here and lie to the
go to-
public further about other things, you can continue on. But
Okay.
you'll not even mention my name again. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Listen, Rain Man, pipe down.
Wow, would you step up?
And this, no.
You got
Let
something
it
to say,
go.
Bob?
Let it
I
go.
do appreciate
Bob, let
that,
it go.
Todd.
Please, sir.
Listen, this is a joke. And for those of you
You're a
shaking
joke.
your head at me, I'll speak now.
No, I don't
Okay?
think so.
I didn't start this. I want nothing more than what was described here tonight by several residents, which is the sense of community that I thought we had here in this town. My kids represent the sixth generation of my wife's family in this town. And I only hope that they can be blessed to raise their family here. They're the oldest grandkids in my wife's family. I hope they raise their family here. Okay? I want the same thing that you all want. I didn't start this fight. My father raised me never to start a fight. Okay? But he told me I could damn sure finish one. And I'm fed up. I can't sit here. You can't save enough on the energy costs. You can't raise enough solar panels. You can't say enough things to justify your behavior, and you continue lying. When he said he came into office, Mr. Ratazik, what he failed to say in prefaces coming into office was he spent months and months and months out lying to our residents about the Priortown Board and distributing false documents out to the Priortown Board, or about the Priortown Board, to get himself elected. He failed to mention that. Okay, now he's just continuing with lying. Okay, he wants to sit up here and put up flyers like this one right here that says there's no town tax. There's no town tax.
Yeah, you're sorry.
So there's no town tax.
Sorry.
Okay, there's no town tax that's been approved. So did this town board approve the unified communications?
You did?
I was part of that. I'm not saying it wasn't necessary. I'm saying, did we approve it?
Yes.
Okay, so,
That's not a town
and how long of a contract is that?
It's not a town tax.
How long of a contract is it?
You signed it. Todd, you
I'm
got.
asking a question. It's a simple answer.
How
You
long?
you should
20
know.
years.
Stop.
It's
We're not gonna
20
do it.
years, okay? And we're being asked in that contract to pay our share, along with the rest of the townships in the county, of a pretty hefty bill. Listen, I'm not saying it wasn't necessary. I voted for it. I've spent a lot of time, prior to many of these members even coming on to this town board, educating myself about the importance of protecting our safety personnel as well as our residents. I believe that it was the right thing to do. Don't get me wrong on that fact. However, that's going to cost this town a lot of money. A lot of folks here spend an awful lot of time trying to create the perception or tell you over and over and over again how much money they're saving you on power or on refinancing this or that or the other thing. They've not spent a minute explaining to you or showing you financial illustrations of how much this unified communications program is going to cost us. It's going to cost us because we were paying zero. So we had nowhere to go but up. Okay? And again, I'm not saying it wasn't necessary, but it's a lot of money. And how are we going to pay for that? Okay, we're not going to be able to absorb it. And similar to the way that probably the county election tax has been handled, it's going to be passed along to us as residents. It's a new town tax. There's no two ways about it. We don't have the finances over the 20-year contract to absorb all of the cost of unified communications. That is a fact. So Mr. Joyce can sit here and try to make fun. He thinks this is funny, just like Mr. Miller thought that Mr. Ratizik's comments were funny. It's not funny. It's serious. And you might think I'm out of line, or you might think that I'm here to cause trouble. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm waiting for our residents to wake up. Wake up. I don't want to sit here and talk about solar panels. When someone's crossed the line, okay, which these members of this town board have all been party to crossing lines. They want to sit here and act like these gender discrimination claims against this town board are, they're not responsible. They want to blame the people, the victims, for the increased legal costs to defend the town against it. They don't want to be accountable for their actions which caused the claims, okay? It's so irresponsible, it's a joke. And I have to be very honest with you, if you're not as appalled and outraged as I am, then you're not informed. And I would suggest that if you'd like to be informed, if you think I'm out of line or I'm a crazy nut job, call me. My number is 573-0140. It's 573-0140. Please call me. I'd be more than happy to have an intelligent conversation about my experience here on this town board for the past 4 years. And you don't have to worry about not voting for me because I'm not running again. This has been one of the most unfulfilling volunteer opportunities that I've ever had. I volunteered to show my kids a sense of commitment to our community, and I want to feel fulfilled with my volunteer service. And I have to tell you, this has been a humongous disappointment because it's something that I care about so much. My mother-in-law, our town clerk, Carol McLean, has dedicated the majority of her adult life to volunteering for this town. For the majority of her life, she sat here where I sit, basically earning nothing, working it like a full-time job, okay? She did that. She made, as a big part of why this town is the great town that we all live in today, okay? I wanted to continue that legacy for our family. I'm not running for anything, so I just want to let you know, it's important to me. That's why I'm so outraged, okay? I care about this town. The generations of my wife's family before her and before her mother, okay, also served this town and helped make this town what it is, a great place for all of us to live and raise our families in. So, again, if you're mad at me, then I would like to say to you, you're not informed. And I would suggest you try to get yourself informed. Please, call me. I'd be more than happy to sit down with you in a calm way, I promise I won't be this way, and talk to you in an honest conversation. I don't have to lie. I'm not running for anything. I'm not looking to get anything. I keep wondering what we're all fighting over. I secretly suspect that there must be oil into this town or something that we're all fighting over. Because I don't know what we're fighting about, okay? I just want to make this town, move the town forward. That's all I want to do. I want to spend my time on constructive things, not this stuff. However, there is no going back now. You can't just say, oh, let's stop talking about it. It's too late for that.
Can I just respond?
Sure.
You can disagree about anything. And that's what makes a democracy.
Absolutely.
It is the way you do it. This is the second time in 3 months I've come here. And I am flabbergasted once again at how the public discourse unfolds. You may feel very strongly, but there is a gentlemanly, adult way of expressing yourself. And yelling at people in the audience is not the way to do it. As I said before, I don't have a dog in this fight because I don't know any of you. But what I do have to say is, there has to be an approach that is adult in learning how to interact and disagree in a way that respects the other people. And yelling at people is not the way you do it. You may have very valid points. I do not know. But let me just say this to you. Your points have been turned off to me because of the way you spoke. Now, like I said, you may be absolutely right, but I'm ready to turn you off and your ideas off because of the way you do it. I have been on citywide committees in Albany. I have served on all kinds of things, labor management, where we have disagreed strongly. But when we leave the table, we are able to talk as adults and interact together. Now, what I heard people say tonight, that this is something new, it is not. And you weren't here at the last, you were not here at the time when I spoke. We moved here 8 or 9 years ago. The first year we moved here, I got an anonymous letter before the election saying terrible things about people. People I didn't know. I was absolutely flabbergasted. So this is not something new. It's time for the people of Princetown to learn how to talk to each other in a way that is adult and respectful.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Well,
I
then
think
you need to
have
just...
been around more, you would be just as outraged and just as passionate.
You can be outraged.
Just as passionate as I am.
I think
I would venture a guess that some of what you observed 8 or 9 years ago was probably from some of the same, issue people we have issues with today.
Well, I don't know about that, but you
You know
can
what,
talk
I would
nicely.
suggest, because I respect everything you just said, and I appreciate it very, very much, and I stand by what I said. I would be more than happy to have a cup of coffee and a calm conversation on any specific points that anybody has any concerns or questions about, on anything that I've said, on anything that they've heard, any specific issues going on in town that are more substantive around town business, and thoughts you might have on how we can improve what you've described is how we get good leaders, because what you just described are basic characteristics of a good leader. I agree with you, we have to be able to agree or disagree in an intelligent, communicative way. We don't have that capability here, unfortunately,
Well-
because we're not generating and developing good community leaders. And what we're left with is a vacuum of leadership, and that precipitates into what we have here in this town. So,
I take exception to
All
that.
right, all right, no, we're
I
not-
take exception to that.
Luke, stop, let him just rant. He's just gonna rant. It's so, and just for the record, the unified communication system is built into the budget, and we're still gonna save money. Now, if Mr. Edwards wants to actually pay attention to the budget, we will. But, and
I didn't say it was gonna be a town tax in 1 year,
and
it's approved.
And the solar savings will offset the unified communication system. Everything we've been talking about since day one is watch the dollars, because you get storms that wash out roads. You get unified communication system. I said it for 2 years now, county and Albany are gonna continue to push their mandates and stuff down to the town. We need to watch how we're spending our money. That's all I've been saying since day one, but let's move on. So a couple of the pieces we've had to buy a new server, an unexpected expense. Not totally unexpected, but it was end of life, but as I'm sure maybe most of you know that, nowadays to work without a computer system is just you need one. So we had to buy a new server, and we still, even though we've had 2 unexpected, expenses, we still anticipate a positive cash flow of over $20,000 to $25,000. It's just, we're here to watch your money and to spend it. That's it. We had a good meeting with hazard mitigation with Schenectady County with Jim Colon. It was actually a very good meeting. I'm going to engage Heather. Actually, I'm probably looking for volunteers. As I'm sure we've all been aware of, Hurricane Katrina, New Orleans, the Hurricane Irene, Hurricane Lee here in town that took away, some of the property owners here. Had a tornado go through up on the north end of town, North Cali, Mariahville Road. What the state and federal government, especially FEMA, are saying is you need to start putting together some plans to work, not only, statewide, countywide, but also here at the town level. For example, you just have to have, post some emergency numbers up on the websites, update your maps. It's a pretty involved, planning session. So we're gonna try to get these up there. We're gonna try to maybe form a committee or two, hopefully, again, with the guidance of Heather, Dan, George, the board and the planning board, all the boards, to start putting together some hazard mitigation, and see if we can get some FEMA funding perhaps. One thing I would like to see would be if we could put a generator here in Town Hall. I know we got solar power, but if there was, another severe weather event that took out power, so we'd have power during the day. Actually, I think we have to kick it off, right, Joe? If we lose commercial power. But anyway, to put up a generator in the building, so if it's an extended, loss of electricity, that they could run the heat or air conditioning here for, for the seniors. So, part of the hazard mitigation plan would be to get a list of all the seniors in town. So if an event did happen, we could go get them, bring them to town hall, at least they have some, heat, air conditioning or maybe heat, some food, some water. So it's ideas like this that, we're gonna be working with Heather and the county. So it was actually a great kickoff meeting. I'm encouraged by it. So anyway, that was a good meeting. Floodplain review, we've already talked about that, and I think that's it for myself. Any questions for me?
I think
Good job.
our water system has generating, power generators on all of it too now. So I think they're used Caterpillars, am I mistaken, George?
Couple cats, couple Olympians, and 2 generators.
So I'm going to close this portion of the meeting, and I know we have some special guests here, so I'm going to jump ahead to new business. We'll come back to minutes and video at the end. So as a lot of folks may or may not have known, we've had an intern working with us, training, Denise Teets. That's you. Who's been doing a great job. She's got her own office now. She's handling the mail. She's sorting the mail. She's registering the mail. Now she's starting to make copies. You're doing a great job, Denise. So if you want to, can you step up and say hello for a minute and maybe give your report?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Denise Teets, and I'm 31 years old, and I want to share with you, what I have been doing for the town. I want to say, hi, my name is Denise Teets. I went to thank the supervisor of my choice in the town board for giving me this opportunity to be the mayor clerk for the town of Princetown. Thank you to Ira for helping me to learn how to do my job, and thank you for everyone.
Thank you, Denise. So with that,
Can I say something?
oh, yeah, sorry.
You know what, we've lived in the town for like 40 years, and some of you I've known for a long time, other I didn't know. And when I approached the board about Denise, I knew no one. I mean, I didn't know any of the people on the board. To tell you the truth, I didn't know who the supervisor was for the town of Princetown. Probably I should be ashamed of that, but I really didn't, okay? But, you know, I approached you and you guys responded, and I think you all should be commended for that. Everybody's been wonderful to my daughter. Isla's done a wonderful job helping her, so has everybody else. And I just want to thank the board for giving my daughter this opportunity. And I have to thank you, Mr. Joyce, because you were the one I approached, and you're the one that did follow through on that. So I thank everybody for doing that, because it is a great thing, and I hope maybe other towns will consider hiring someone like Denise, because she feels really good about herself, and she loves her job. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And like I say, it's a good thing for the town, it's a good thing for Denise. There's just loads and loads of just good things about it. We borrowed an old laptop. I guess the next step is get you an email address so we can send you an email and you can make copies and distribute that way. We're going to try to fix up your room a little bit more.
You know what though, I don't know, she just, there's an error in here. Because it said something about she's being appointed on 11/4/13 for a term to expire on 12/31/12.
Yeah, we work backwards here in town.
What?
We work backwards.
She's a mom. It's a
It's going to take a long time to get there. So it's actually, so, yeah, that was my typo, my mistake. So, and the way, yeah, Lillian and Denise, the way it is, the town works in this town, because everybody's really part-time, is that every position, except for the elected ones, are appointed.
Okay.
And they're per year,
Okay.
as a majority, you know,
Okay.
there's a couple exceptions, but, every January, like the first day or two into January, there's an organizational meeting, and at that meeting, all people, you know, are reappointed with their wages, you know, with their job titles, et cetera. So when you look at this one, it just says, you know, from 11/4, which is a Monday, through the end of the year. Then the assumption is that next year it should be reappointed for a full year. All right. So, organizational resolution for 2013, Denise Teese, mail clerk. Do I have a motion that the following organizational resolution for the fiscal year 2013 is hereby offered? Mail clerk. Be resolved that the town board of the town of Princetown hereby appoints town resident Denise Teese to the position of mailroom clerk and confidential assistant to the town supervisor, reporting directly to Supervisor Joyce and supervisor's bookkeeper at an hourly rate of $7.25 per hour, not to exceed 14 hours a week, with no benefits, starting Monday, November 4th, 13, for a term to expire on 12/31/13. Denise's responsibility will include receiving the U.S. mail, recording it per the town of Princetown's U.S. mail policy, making copies and distributing communications as required, together with such other related tasks as the supervisor and the bookkeeper may assign her.
I happily make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Jazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce is yes. Congratulations. All right. You may have to ask for reports every month. But we'll put you up first, so we're not keeping you up too late. Like I said, we'll come back to minutes and video approval towards the end of the meeting. So as everybody knows, we're in the final, hopefully, stages of the comprehensive plan, and we need to do seeker review. So do I have a resolution pursuant to and in accordance with provisions of section 617.6, initial review of actions and establishing lead agency of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Regulations, 6 New York CCR, Part 617, the town board of the town of Princetown hereby makes the following determinations and classifications with respect to the proposed new revised comprehensive plan for the town of Princetown. 1, the town board of the town board of the town of Princetown hereby determines that the actions is subject to seeker. The town board determines that the action does not involve a federal agency, and that while the Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning is an interested agency, it is not directly involved in the environmental review process, nor is any other agency. 3, the town board hereby makes a preliminary classification of the action as a type 1 action. 4, the town board hereby determines that it is and will be the lead agency with respect to the review of the comprehensive plan for the town of Princetown. A public hearing with respect to the comprehensive plan for the town of Princetown shall be held on October 22nd, 2013 at 7 p.m. at the Princetown Town Hall, 165 Princetown Plaza, Princetown, New York. The town clerk of the town of Princetown is hereby directed to publish a notice of said public hearing in the Daily Gazette and to give notice thereof to the Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning and to other municipalities, boards, and agencies entitled to notice thereof. A copy of this resolution shall be sent by the town clerk to the Town Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Building and Code Inspector, the New York State Department of Transportation, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and the New York State Department of Agricultural Markets no later than Wednesday, October 9th, 2013. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Bob?
I said so moved, yeah.
Second? Mr. Edwards?
Abstain.
No vote? No vote?
Abstain.
I think we
I can
should.
explain it to you if you like.
You can. We'll wait.
It's not voting yes or no.
Huh?
I'm abstaining for a vote.
But we really should be, people are paying you to take a stand, unless you got a
You seem to
conflict.
have a lot of opinions about
Unless you have
why
a conflict
people
of
are,
interest.
why people are paying us. People are elected us to represent them. I would like to think that people in our town would represent themselves the way you've been represented. So, I'm exercising
Mr.
my
Esposito?
legal
Yes.
right to abstain.
Mr.
That doesn't mean
Drzezinski?
you're
Yes.
supposed to apologize.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce? Yes. Okay. Local law number 2, 2013 seeker. This is with regard to the floodplain regulation law. Do I have a motion? Pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions of section 617.6, initial review of actions in establishing lead agency of the state of New York State Environmental Quality Review Regulations 6 NYCC CRR Part 617, the town board of the town of Princetown hereby makes the following determinations and classifications with respect to the proposed new and revised local law number 2-2013, Town of Princetown floodplains regulation law for the town of Princetown. The town of Princetown hereby determines that the action is subject to seeker. The town board determines that the action does not involve a federal agency, and that while federal agencies, New York State DEC and Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning are interested agency, they are not directly involved in the environmental review process, nor is any other agency. 3, the town board hereby makes a preliminary classification of a type of the action as type 1 action. The town board hereby determines that it is and will be the lead agency with respect to review of local law number 2-2013 for the town of Princetown. A public hearing with respect to the local law number 2-2013 for the town of Princetown shall be held on November 12th, 2013 at 7 p.m. at the Princetown Town Hall, 165 Princetown Plaza, New York, Princetown, New York. The town clerk of the town of Princetown is hereby directed to publish a notice of said public hearings in the Daily Gazette and to give notice thereof to the Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning and to other municipalities, boards, agencies entitled to notice thereof. A copy of this resolution shall be sent by the town clerk to the town planning board, the zoning board of appeals, the building and code inspector, New York State Department of Transportation, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets no later than Wednesday, October 9th, 2013. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Drzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce is yes. Preliminary budget and public hearing. Pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions of section 106 of the town law and other applicable provisions of law, the town board of the town of Princetown will meet on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2013 at 7 p.m. at Princetown Town Hall to consider and revise the 2014 tentative town budget and to adopt and approve a 2014 preliminary town budget. Such preliminary budget will then be filed in the office of the town clerk of the town of Princetown, where it shall be available for public inspection. The town board of the town of Princetown shall then meet at Princetown Town Hall, 165 Princetown Plaza, Princetown, New York, on October 29th, and then and there hold a public hearing upon such preliminary budget. The town clerk of the town of Princetown shall give notice of such public hearing by publishing notice thereof in the Daily Gazette at least 5 days prior to the October 29th meeting, and shall cause a copy of said notice to be posted on the signboard of the town of Princetown not later than 5 days before October 29th, 2013. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Drzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce is a yes. General Fund Claim 286 for unlawful discriminatory practice complaint as it relates to Rebecca Seeley versus the town of Princetown. Resolved that the town board approve the General Fund Claim 286 for the payment to the law firm of Romer, Wallens, Gold, Minot, LPP for the services to date of Michael Cuevas to defend the Princetown Town Board in a complaint filed by Rebecca Seeley for the amount of $301 to bring the total amount to defend the town to $2,085. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Edwards?
No.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Jazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce is a yes. Are we signed on the claims?
Yes.
Can you pass them down? All right, general fund claims. The motion, the town board approves claims 264 to 285 and claims 287 to claim 304 in the amount of $29,873.25. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Edwards?
I'm sorry, these are. I'm gonna abstain. I have not looked at the vouchers.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
And Mr. Joyce is a yes. General funds transfer. The motion, the town board approves the following transfers from account number 19904 contingency in the amount of $4,243 to the attorney line 14201, reason employee lawsuits. And the second transfer is from account number 19904 contingency fund for the amount of $140 to the capital improvement line of 16264 for the new server. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Edwards?
No.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Jazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce is a yes. Water fund claims. Town board approves claims 93 through claims 103 in the amount of $5,902.92. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce is a yes. Town board audit. Whereas section 2019-A of the Uniform Justice Court Act of the State of New York requires that a town justice's annually provide their court records and dockets to the town board for examination and auditing. And whereas pursuant to Town Board Resolution 1313, Princetown Town Justice Michelle Van Wert produced the Town Justice Court's 2012 financial records for examination and auditing by the Town Board on January 29, 2013. And whereas on such date, the Town Board conducted an examination and audit of such financial records and concluded that all fines collected by the town justice were turned over to the town supervisor for the fiscal year ending in 12/31/2012 as required by law. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Princetown hereby acknowledges that it conducted an examination and audit of the 2012 financial records of the town justice court and determines that the fines collected by the court during 2012 were turned over to the town supervisor as required by law. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
And second.
Second.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito? Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
And Mr. Joyce is a yes. Special town board meeting. The town board, do we have a motion that the town board will hold a special town board meeting on Tuesday, August 22nd,
October.
Oops, sorry, scratch, let me start again. Do I have a motion that the town board will hold a special town board meeting on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2013 at 7 PM at the Princetown Town Hall, 165 Princetown Plaza, Princetown, New York, to conduct a public hearing on the 2013 comprehensive plan to review, consider, and revise the 2014 tentative budget and to adopt and approve the 2014 preliminary budget for the town of Princetown, to consider any and all other matters that may properly come before the board at the meeting, and it is therefore resolved that the town clerk shall duly notice the special meeting as provided by law. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Drzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
And yes from Mr. Joyce. Let's touch base on the minutes here. So, we haven't approved minutes in a few months. I'm gonna suggest we table them again. I know everybody hasn't had a chance, but if Joe, if you could maybe prime, take a look at them,
I will.
and then give us an update on, in November. So, the minutes approval will be tabled till the November meeting. And the final piece of business, town board meeting video approval. The town board approves the video audio tape recording of the October 8th, 2013 town board meeting upon viewing the town supervisor or his delegate. Do we have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Second.
We got Lewis, second. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Drzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce is a yes. All right. I did, well, there was one piece of business I wanted to talk about. So there's a New York State Power Highway Initiative coming through. So we've had two companies approach us, and I'd like to work with the board, the planning board, the zoning board, and also to alert the residents along the high-tension power lines that run up north here along Pangburn, up to Reynolds Road, and heads west, and actually ends all the way up in Marcy. So it's the power lines that run from Marcy, New York, down to below Poughkeepsie. And then there's another spur along Route 17. What's being proposed by the governor, and we've had a couple of companies come in, National Grid and Next Era Energy, is a couple of firms that are coming into, I guess, are bidding on the contract to run the new power lines. What's gonna happen is, according to a couple of the presentations, is they're gonna run the new power, the big towers, alongside the existing towers. They're gonna put a step-down transmission station up on Reynolds Road, as the design showing now, where it turns left and heads south. And then at that substation, they'll step it down and send it off into Rotterdam. So the concern, obviously, is, I think for the residents, is, how are they gonna do this? What's the effect gonna be on their properties, et cetera? So, I wanted to broadcast it now, to talk about it. I'll be working with Mike, the boards, setting up a public hearing, maybe at a planning board meeting or a ZBA meeting, and having Next Era Energy and National Grid come in and make their presentation. So I did want to talk about that. I'd forgotten about that piece. Again, if anybody wants some furniture from the State Police Building, Lou? No. We'll be getting rid of some over there. It's kind of beat up, but I don't know if we need any in town hall, but if we need some, not, I don't know if we're responsible for it.
When we were over there, we did inquire, and apparently it is the town's furniture. So if anybody in town hall can use the furniture, then obviously they should get the first opportunity to take advantage of that such as it is. But if not, then the town would have to declare it surplus, and if it's not usable for anything, then you can discard it. So, you could also inquire as to whether, schools or any other public entities might be interested in renovating town halls.
So I guess we'll work out a deposition process for it, or put it up on the website saying we want some.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think that's about all the business that I have for tonight. We're gonna open back up for public comment. Same rules apply. Try to limit your time. Address your comments to the board, please, not each other. And I'll open it up at 9 o'clock.
Mr. Joyce, I'd just like to clarify one thing. I did not come here campaigning for anybody, okay? I'm not taking sides. Disrespectful behavior by anybody should not be tolerated. And what you experienced personally, that shouldn't be condoned. I mean, it's not right. Whether it's against you, from you, from somebody else, you gotta ratchet this whole thing down a bit. That's all I'm saying, is let's get back to being civil in this town. This town is this lady here, okay, and she needed help, her neighbors, whatever. It's Denise, this is our town. This is what we are. We gotta bury this stuff, and I'm not gonna get into the political end of it, but I know it's there. I mean, people are running for office right now, and you do have control over that. You do have control over what goes into mailings and things like that. So all I'm asking you, as a resident of this town, okay, let's take that edge off. Let's dump this, man. This has gotta go, because this is hurting our town. When I have friends that live outside the town of Princetown, and they come up to me on Sunday afternoon, they go, hey, what the hell is this cartoon? They don't know anything. I mean, the Gazette has a big following. It goes all over. Now, here's a cartoon of the town of Princetown judge that goes out to everybody. This is a very small town. We don't have that many residents. Maybe a lot of residents don't know what's going on as far as that goes. Okay, so when that stuff hits, it makes us all look bad. And I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care what end of town you live on. We all look bad. It's not a good thing. This stuff has to be ratcheted down. And that's all I'm asking you for. I'm not bashing you in any way.
I understand.
And all I'm asking you for is, come on, let's be civil. Let's cut out the crap now and let's get down. Okay, you can run your campaigns and you can run on your record. Run on your fiscal record. Okay, you sat here tonight and you told us all the good things you did. Okay, run on that. Those are good things if you're saving the town money. You know what I mean? We don't need all this other stuff going on in this town. We really don't need it. That's all I'm asking you for. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Morning, Sue Reed, 962 Dare Road. Regarding the family movie night, I did forget two people, and I do apologize. Loretta Cooland and Sandy Fortune, I think, has already left, but they were, again, a big help during the family movie night. I wanted to give them the credit due to them for volunteering their time to this great event. I have one question. You are planning to have a budget meeting on October 29th. There is no time listed in your resolution on page 6. Would that still be 7 o'clock as usual?
Can't read my mind?
I try, but.
It's a trick question.
It says 7 p.m.
On October 29th?
Oh, 22nd.
I see the 22nd.
Oh.
Correct.
Do I have to read the whole thing over, or if we just? So, if Cal.
Just amend it?
Yes, Cal, if you could squeeze that number 7 PM in there, that'd be
Okay.
much appreciated.
And with the furniture, I would suggest also offering it to our 3 volunteer fire departments to see if they can use any of the surplus furniture. And I just want to say too, I'm very glad to have Denise come work because we sort of see her when we're down working on the Civic Historical Committee materials. So we get to see her and she's a cheerful person. I think she's going to be a great asset to the town here.
Here, here.
The other great asset that this town board has done is hired Heather. I deal with her with the planning board, and I'll be dealing with you with the ZBA also. Knowledgeable, hit the ground running, very willing to help you out, very professional, awesome person to work with, so.
So you're saying it's just before the budget time?
What does that have to do with it? No, it's great. I mean, I've only worked with her a short time, and she's great to work with, so.
Yeah, she has, she's been.
So thank you.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Mary Sue, you thanked everybody in the room for helping overnight. You were the one that we need to thank.
Yes, we do.
For making it happen.
Team effort.
Thank you.
Team
And with that, is there any additional thoughts, comments?
Earlier tonight, Mike, you spoke about the cases that were brought against you, and in reference to myself, you said it was due to budgetary. And let me correct you so everyone understands that it was not. It had to do with myself being harassed through emails that were sent to all the employees of the town as well as, residents of the town. You allowed other people such as Tim Bishop and Pat Bishop to send belittling emails to me. And again, everyone was included as well as some town residents. Mr. Jasinski on 2 occasions attacked me verbally where other people were here to listen to him. The town clerk is a separate elected position. The town clerk really does very little for the town board. Statutory obligations are to the health department, to the comptroller, to Department of State, Education Department, to name a few. Those are the tasks and statutory obligations. And yet you as a board felt that you had to pass over 11 resolutions to try and control what chair I sat in at lunch, to let you into the violation of Department of Health regs, and I could go on. So in deference to an elected position's obligation, you passed resolutions so to make me answer to you. And I refused to do that. I answered to the residents of the town of Princetown, and I answered to the departments that I work for. I do not answer to you. And yet you had to harass me, humiliate me, send out things to everyone, and you wouldn't stop. So yes, I did file. And for you to sit there, Mike, and say it was because of something budgetary is disingenuous, to say the least. So then at the time that you received this from the Division of Human Rights, you then hired the town attorney. You were unethical to do that, and I feel Mr. Cuevas was unethical to represent you. He's here to be objective and to help the town, not to defend you in something that is brought against you because of your own fault, your own issues that you have, or the way you've treated people. And after Mr. Cuevas billed the town numerous thousands of dollars, when we went to the hearing on that day and I appeared and you appeared, you didn't want to answer anything, you wanted to settle. I think that was a good thing. You agreed to things, you signed the paper, and nothing has changed. But I think the town's residents should realize that what you just said truly was disingenuous and wrong. And you should not disseminate these things all the time at these meetings. Because, do I call them lies? Some of them are. But you continue to belittle me and belittle other people. You add this to the meeting minutes, these things that should be in correspondence, has nothing to do with me, but it apparently has to do with the judge. I don't belong in meeting minutes, it's just your way to, again, harass and embarrass someone. I'm not gonna leave these on meeting minutes. So I will ask you again, I am separately elected, or whoever is the town clerk. It is not your obligation to start making resolutions to tell anyone how to run their office. I answer to the residents, and I try to do a good job for the residents. I don't have to answer to you. So I hope that clears up for the residents that what you said before was not correct. And I could say a ton more, but I'm not going to hold it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that it? Any additional? All right, we'll close that at 9:10. And with that, we have a, councilman concerns?
Yes.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Edwards.
I have a lot of concerns, but in respect for a lot of the comments I'm making here tonight, I will keep them extremely limited. Like some of the residents who commented today, I have some very strong feelings about the political satire that was illustrated in Sunday's County Gazette. You know, it seems like every other day or every third day lately, you can't turn on the Today Show in the morning without hearing about some other shooting at some public venue. So I found it extremely insensitive for the Gazette and whoever had, I guess, put forth those comments to joke about a topic that I'm sure there's a lot of victims' families don't think that that's a funny topic. So I think the safety and security of our public buildings and our communities is a very serious topic. And I think that, you know, for someone in this town and the Gazette to poke fun at that in today's environment is really insensitive, and I'll just leave it at that. In, I guess, point of fact and clarification, it was mentioned tonight that I personally was responsible for contacting Mr. Joyce's employer. I don't even know who your employer is. I had nothing to do with, anything to do with Mr. Joyce's employer. We had a meeting months ago where I believe that was a topic amongst the other members of the town board I was not even aware of. And Mr. Joyce moved over physically in front of me and pointed his finger at me and said, now if I find out that you had anything to do with this, I'm going to find you. I felt threatened. I've been involved on boards now for 20 years. I've been on the board of trustees for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I've been on the board of directors of the local Chamber of Commerce and several other community volunteer boards. I've never been treated like that by anyone in a volunteer capacity. I felt threatened. I didn't know what to do. I contacted the state police. What happened after that? I have no idea. Okay? I have never had anything to do with contacting Mr. Joyce's employer. Whatever happened to him, I have no idea. And I'm assuming, you know, it had something to do with him, but it had nothing whatsoever to do with him. So, other than that, I would like to thank everyone. You know, as I wind down my time here at this town board, I want to thank everyone that I've had the opportunity to interact with over my time here. Unless my wife throws me out, I don't think I'm leaving town, so hopefully I'll still interact with some of you. Can't guarantee she's not throwing me out. And, you know, to the folks who were here earlier who left, because I'm sure I aggravated them with some of my passion that I had for a lot of the issues that we have as a community, you know, I guess I stand by my word. I've sat here through a lot of stuff. I would encourage folks, like I have from the day I've gotten involved here in Princetown, to get involved and get informed. And we do have a great town here. The comments that you made about the help you got from your neighbors, that has been my experience. When the storms, a couple of storms ago, when we had those, my house was the house where our neighborhood kind of got together because we had a wood stove and we actually cooked on it. And we were able to keep everybody warm and fed at our house, and that's what I love about this town. And that's the kind of, things that we should be talking about, and the type of things that should, the outside folks who are looking in at Princetown should be hearing about, not the things that they've been hearing about or seeing in papers most recently. So, again, thank you everyone that I've had the opportunity to interact with. Not only am I almost 4 years on the town board, but in the preceding 7+ years on the planning board, I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you around town. That's it for me. Thank you.
Mr. Myers.
I have little, nothing much to say other than just being disturbed, troubled, and I had nothing to do with any cartoon, so. In fact, I haven't even seen it. So, other than that, I'm ready to go home.
Mr. Drzezinski.
Todd Edwards spoke of passion. But Todd Edwards has not attended a town board meeting since April. That's half of this year's meetings to date. But because he's an elected official, he continues to collect a paycheck and, not do his job.
How many meetings did you
He
miss?
then comes to a meeting after 5 months of absence and criticizes those doing the work. Then he abstains from voting on various resolutions. And this continues his abdication of responsibility to the citizens of this town. It's very disappointing to me, and in my estimation, renders his criticisms, his passionate criticism, to just plain flatulence. The citizens of this town need to know this. Also, Mrs. McLean said that I attacked her.
Verbally.
This is, but verbally, to have a disagreement means to attack. Oh, no, Carol. That is not the truth. That is not the truth.
So,
You use the word disingenuous applying to us.
It's Councilman concerns, it's only Joe's floor, period. Stop. Go ahead.
She used the word disingenuous about this town board, but it applies to her. She has served to obstruct the efforts of this town board since I was elected in November of 2011, and I want the town to know this. It has been a very difficult tenure here. And the people that support you, that spoke tonight and applauded Mr. Edwards for his passion, I just find very, very disappointing. And sir, I don't know your name, but I agree with you 100%. We need to bear, civility, Deborah Gentile mentioned that. It's just because you disagree doesn't mean you can't work together. And this is my biggest concern. I agree with you 100%. And I just, this is the election season and it's politics. From this side of the bench, we can't do politics. It's not in the interest of Princetown. But when we're going door to door, we can. And, the truth has to be known. The truth has to be known. And that's all.
Thank you, Joe. And Mr. Esposito.
Now that all of our political grandstanding has happened over here, that somebody on our town board led us to believe it was a very passionate speech, which I believe was only political in nature. I would like to get back to, I was not here when we discussed the trooper barracks. I did get some bids on that for the repair of the blacktop. I think we should do that before the snow sets in and the winter comes in. I had an estimate from Lappy. He keeps his trucks over here in the industrial park. He gave me a bid of $250. You have it here?
No, it's just some.
He gave me a bid of $250 for it, to do just the repair. He said the right way to do it is to dig up the drain and replace it, put it back in, because the patch job will probably only last a year, maybe two, just filling it with blacktop. His other estimate was $850. I think that we should do that, and I'm asking the town board that we should do this immediately, because if we do get snow, and the blacktop season is gonna be ending very shortly, and we're not gonna be able to do it. They're gonna have to put a cold patch in, which is not gonna last. So, that's it. I do have another estimate to do the roof. Mark's Roofing gave me an estimate on it. We have two of them now.
Keep handing them to me.
We're gonna have to put it into the budget for next year. I don't know what we wanna do. We should get up there and do the flat part of the roof this year. At least seal it again, in the spots where it's bubbled up. If we don't do that, we're gonna have a leak in there, and then our painting that we did this past year is gonna be damaged. I do have the other estimate from Dabs for the snow plowing for this year for both sites. And the other thing I would like to say is that in the 2 years that I've been on the town board, I think we've accomplished a great deal. I think with the refinancing of the water bonds, thanks all in part to our attorney and our supervisor, they made it happen, saving the town a lot of money on the south end, and I think they should be applauded for it. I think that just what we have done with the solar system, that's going to generate a savings to this town for years to come, probably when I could probably be gone, and I don't know, I said it to Joe, we're getting up in age, so we might even not be here to see it, but I think that it's a good thing, and I think by us acting responsible as we approach this budget season and curtail our spending, there is nothing wrong with that. And as what happens is, if you look at it, it starts on the lower end and it works its way up. You see what's happening with our federal level, the way they're overspending. If we don't rein in our spending and we start spending more than what we're taking in, we are going to have a town tax. As far as this 9/11 communication, I did not want that to happen. We were forced into this. I want the residents to know this. We were forced into this. They told us, they came here from the county along with the county attorney and told us that if we did not go along with this, they were not going to provide 9/11 service to us. They were not going to provide 9/11 service to us. And I said, you mean to say that if somebody picks up the phone and dials 911, nobody's going to answer the phone? And the county attorney said yes. We were left with no choice. They're the ones who forced us into this, and it's a minimal charge. Every town had to contribute to this, including the city, the towns, and villages. We were left with no choice.
Public safety issue.
Yes. That's what they told us over here. So for someone to say that this is going to be an exorbitant tax over X number of years, that we put it on ourselves, is not true. So that's all I have to say, and I think that we should be looking at these other issues that I just said over here about the state police barracks, and we should not wait too long on it because winter is rapidly approaching. Thank you.
Thanks, Lou. Well, I really don't have much. I mean, I don't want to kind of top this meeting off. I need a standing ovation just by itself, but and I apologize for it because, I guess I got to let it get out of hand a little bit. But I just want to touch base on the budget again. The 911 is in the budget. There's no town tax. It's in the budget.
And we're coming in.
And we're coming in with, in positive cash flow, so. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski? Mr. Esposito? Yes.